So with the conclusion of the June tests, the latest World Rugby Rankings are out. The winner here, the Northern Hemisphere, with 3 of the 4 teams in the top 4 spots being Northern Hemisphere teams, Six Nations teams. All Blacks still at number 1. That's just kind of same old. No real surprises there. Their series victory over the French 3-0 was surprising to pretty much nobody. They looked patchy at times, but also very clinical at times. So I think if you're looking at the All Blacks as one of their opponents, yeah, you're still not going to be overly optimistic, but there's enough chinks in the armour for teams to kind of analyse and target for sure. Ireland at 2, a pretty clear 2 as well. There seems to be, after that series victory over Australia, just a slight gap between them and the following pack. I mean, their rankings kind of show that they cracked 90 points on the rankings this time. So yeah, really impressive victory away from home. Their top guns are imposing, and if you had to face Ireland in a World Cup knockout match right now, it would be a pretty daunting prospect. So yeah, that's a strong looking Irish team. For Wales at number 3, there has been a bit of chatter, at least what I've read online. People saying that Wales are too high, not giving them that much credit for their wins on tour. But I mean, how many of these teams got a perfect run in June? I mean, them and the All Blacks basically, and Wales did it away from home. So yeah, the critics will say that it was a weak Argentina team and it was a C or B team for South Africa, but it wasn't Wales' best team either. So, I mean, I'm happy with them at 3. We'll see more about them in November for sure. England at 4. That takes the microscope off Eddie Jones just for a minute. Everything had been discussed about what he was doing, from his coaching methods, training methods, to his relationship with the players with that big run of losses. They've got a win. It was good. It wasn't fantastic, but the tour wasn't a complete disaster. There's enough positives there. Again, not the best England team. I mean, you can say that with most of the teams. Most of the teams had key guys out, so did the Springboks. But yeah, for the English to go into 4 after being at 6 last week, take that going into the break, and then kind of move on to November. For the Wallabies at 5, they lost the series at home, which was disappointing, but it was pretty close against a really tough Irish team. They probably still need to lift their game just a little bit, but there's certainly the talent there. Yeah, the media stuff's always pretty interesting with Checker, but I guess putting that aside, the guys on the field, yeah, there's some special guys there, so there's not that much separating them from the top dogs. I mean, they've beat the All Blacks last year. They pushed Ireland in all 3 games. They won 1, lost 2, so yeah, we'll see how they go going forward. For the Springboks, down after 2 wins. They lost that game to England. It's still building with the Springboks. I mean, I'm not writing the Springboks off by any means. There's so many young players in that squad. It's a new coach. He's only had 4 games in charge. He's gone 50-50. There was no guarantees they were going to win that series against England. Just, you know, looking at the previews a month ago. So for them to go in and get a win is very good for Springbok rugby. Hopefully they can you know, take the learnings from that most recent loss, from what he's seen of some of these new players, and yeah, just keep on kind of onwards and upwards for them. And for the Scottish, despite that big victory over Argentina, it's still in 7th for them. If that wasn't for that loss against the US, they would have had a perfect run as well, but not to be. Yeah, at least they blooded some young players in that game against Argentina and on the tour generally. So, yeah, I think generally pretty well managed. Outside the top 7, you've got France at 8. You know, it was always a tough prospect going down to New Zealand. Fiji at 9, who have been impressive, and Argentina, who have been very disappointing, at 10. So, yeah, those are the rankings. They won't change, at least in the top dogs, for a while. But it makes November just all the more interesting, looking at some of these upcoming matchups. But yeah, what do you guys think about the rankings? Any teams you think are too high or too low? General thoughts on the June tests as well. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.